Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Carlisle Connection. This is our special series on our town meeting warrant articles. Town meeting is coming up, and we like to provide as much information as possible for you to make informed decisions at that special event. And today, we're going to talk about one of our two capital articles. We have two. Today's topic is building maintenance, and I'm joined by a couple special guests who will introduce themselves, and then we'll ask them some questions, if you wouldn't mind.
Hi, I'm Jerry Lerman, Chair of the Municipal Facilities Committee.
I'm Stephen Canerney, Facilities Director.
Welcome, gentlemen, and thanks for all you do in town to make sure that all of our buildings are maintained and that we can provide the services that we do. So I started by saying that we split our capital article into two, and one of them is building maintenance. This is pretty traditional in Carlisle. And Jerry, why historically have we split building maintenance into its own capital article for people who are asking that question?
Well, typically, these projects take some time. The cost, but we have our cost estimates, and the actual cost of the project may turn out to be somewhat different, and we like to have the flexibility to allocate the funds according to the projects that need the money. The warrant article is typically good for several years because it takes some time for these projects to get underway and get completed. This is, I think, the fifth or sixth warrant article covering maintenance. We've been working for several years to catch up on the backlog of deferred maintenance in all of the town buildings. So this is part of an ongoing project.
So, as you said, Jerry, we've been doing this for a few years now, and the Municipal Facilities Committee, the committee you chair, oversees this. What studying goes into this? How do you contribute it to the capital plan, and how did this list come about?
Well, we have a long list of projects that need attention, and we spend a lot of time trying to prioritize those things that require attention most urgently. It typically is better to do projects before things fail catastrophically rather than deal with things on an emergency basis. So we like to address problems before they become serious problems.
And Stephen, you're one of the main contributors to our capital plan, evaluating all of our buildings and dealing with them day to day. How do you identify these projects? Is there an end to the list of projects we're going to get? How are you able to contribute as our director to this plan in a way that people would understand?
Honestly, it's by how many times I have to repair something, knowing that it's time it needs to be replaced. One of the examples in this list is a garage door that's original to the building, I believe 1960, and we've duct taped it together long enough. It's become dangerous. It could fall apart when someone's using it. So that's one of the ways, just by using and seeing how the equipment is worn down and aged. But with your help and Jerry's help, we've been focusing more on the bigger pictures, like the RTU units where heat is required. It takes higher priority. So those are where the main focus is with the bigger equipment.
And this isn't the only thing that goes into building maintenance. These are just the big items, right? How do you deal with the smaller, the day-to-day items, and why are those different than these larger items that are on the capital plan?
The day-to-day items go through a work order database system, and we track it by category, town-wide for all the buildings and grounds. And I get a report each year from the work order database company on the work orders, what was repaired most, and I also keep a personal log of in an Excel spreadsheet of repairs done on the properties.
And it's fair to say that this list that we're working on here, this collection of items that'll be under the MFC's control, is not the full scope of what's needed right now for the town. It's just what we think can be prioritized for this year as compared to the resources that are available.
Correct.
So you'd have a longer list if you were given the opportunity?
Very long.
I'm being a little facetious. I've seen your full list before, so I understand the need to repair facilities. But we've been addressing this, as Jerry said, over multiple years. We'll continue to address it over multiple years. And This year's article is focused on what we think can be supported by the town and are the priority items. So you want to walk us through some of them, Jerry, so people know what they're
Okay,
voting on?
I'll start off. The first item is a study of the HVAC system in the Grant and Robbins buildings at the school. That project is a $210,000 project, but we have a grant from the state that covers $119,000 of that. So this warrant article is asking for $88,000 to complete that study. I'll let Stephen talk about the status of those units. That is the reason why we're doing this.
The units on the rooftop are clunky, for a lack of a better term. When they turn on, the whole ceiling shakes. My first day of employment, they told me that was normal, and I said, "This is not normal." But they're the oldest units on all the school buildings, the ones that are on Robbins, and one unit on the Grant. So they are the first on the list to be replaced.
Yeah, and our sharp readers and watchers and listeners will see that we said study. So the actual construction of this will come after we study, but we want to make sure that they're the right size. We want to make sure that they meet decarbonization goals, and the cost of them is very expensive. But the town was lucky enough to become a climate leader community through the work of Sarah Wasserman, our sustainability coordinator, and the ESC, our environmental sustainability committee. So we are eligible for $1 million in grant funding, and the MFC has identified this project as the main recipient of that $1 million. So we're hoping through the funding of just design that will pay for the cost of these very expensive pieces of equipment. And that project is wrapping up the design part this summer, hopefully constructing late winter or early spring, depending on timeframes, if we can get on the roof. Sometimes that's a challenge.
Sometimes it's a challenge staying on the roof.
And Stephen, we have a couple items here from the school. You want to walk us through the school projects? I'm sure people are familiar with these, especially parents and people who go to the school and have seen some of these facilities.
One of the items that is on the list is the main staircase at the lower lot under the solar panels. It's been hit with a lot of salt over the years. The railings have rotted off. The concrete is spalling, and it's becoming unsafe. So that is one of the projects on there. So recently, with the very icy winter we had a lot of ice dams, and we had some damage to a retaining wall at the school that holds I would call it like a fire road, where the fire trucks come to the front of the building, and that ice had toppled the wall over. So it actually supersedes the staircase, because the stairs could last another year. So we'd like to see if we could move that over to the wall. Most of the Grant and Robbins classrooms have old carpet that is torn, duct taped, and some of the work we were able to do in-house, where we ripped the carpet up and found that there was original tile underneath the carpet. We stripped it, waxed it, and brought it back to its original condition. But other floors have the carpet directly on concrete. So we'd like to get the carpet removed and then put tile in for better maintaining the building.
And I remember from this project, we did half of it a year or two ago, and your facilities team actually did a lot of the work, right? Saving the town some money.
Yeah, it was saved about $8,000 doing half the project in-house.
Well, we and the people listening to this certainly appreciate that savings. Another item on here that it might be difficult to understand or describe, not for you, but for people listening, is the HVAC server upgrade. Why do we need these server upgrades, and why are they important?
The main part of the server upgrade is security. The operating system is outdated. It needs to be updated to Windows 11 or I believe it's NT Server 2023 or something. That's beyond my knowledge there, but it is a security risk. And the next item is the software we're using is about 15 years old. It's good software, but it's also going to become outdated, and they're moving to a new platform, which is more web-based, like the town hall or the library is.
Yeah, and a lot of our systems are sophisticated systems. They're upgraded, so they do rely on these softwares to run, and that definitely reduces personnel costs. You don't have to have as many people on the ground if you can monitor it remotely.
Correct.
And you do some remote monitoring, I'm assuming.
I monitor 4 different systems in town for HVAC. The one at the school, I have to actually log into my laptop to connect through a VPN, but with the upgrade, I could be on my phone and check the system from my phone. It's just like the town hall and the library.
Yeah, I know that you get a lot of updates on your phone, because every time I text you, you get mad at me. So.
That's correct.
All right, Jerry, there's a couple projects on here, the pH balancing equipment and the surge protection. These are multi-building projects, something you've been looking at for a while, right?
Yeah, there are two problems with town water and town electricity. We get a lot of power surges from the power company, which does damage to electronics. So one of the things that we like to do is install surge protection in all of the buildings that don't currently have it to protect sensitive electronics and help them last longer. Another issue has to do with water. A lot of town water is acidic, and unless we do something to counteract that acidity, it tends to dissolve pipes and cause leaks and other sort of problems. So we'd like to install some equipment in all of the buildings that need it to make sure that the water is not acidic and that the plumbing will last longer.
And this is not hypothetical. These have been problems we faced this year. We've had a couple pipe incidents at town hall and police station. You want to describe how the water contributes to that?
Well, as Jerry mentioned, the pH is not at the proper level, so it's acidic, and we received a lot of little pinholes at the police station mostly. Town hall had a few, and the school has had a few, but they periodically spring up in a wall that you're unaware of, and we have to do a quick repair. And getting those pH balances in place will reduce this from happening in the future.
Yeah, we had to close town hall this year because of one of those, it sounds small, pinhole leaks, but they get big quick.
It actually took out some fire equipment and required repairs of the ceilings and walls.
So when we repaired the town hall bathrooms this year, we cleaned up all the plumbing, and now the balancers would help us prevent the wear and tear and make that repair last longer.
Correct.
See, I'm learning from you guys. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
So all of this will be grouped up into one article, Jerry, and you guys will work through each one of these projects in priority order. Assuming that the costs hold and that you're able to do things efficiently, you would go item to item until you're done, right? And what happens if you don't have enough money?
Then we come asking for more money.
And the idea being that you focus on the items first, deal with the unknowns, and then continue.
Well, I mean, the worst case scenario is that there is some item on the list that we wouldn't be able to address if we don't have enough money.
And that goes back onto the capital plan.
And it would come up again next year.
I know from my work with you, a lot of the times we start a project, realize that we need to study it more, figure out more detail, and then that can lead to better recommendations and more efficient use of money. All right, so we have been talking about the capital article and our building maintenance. The town has a comprehensive 10-year plan with a lot of facilities knowledge on it. If you go to the town website under the town administrators page, under budget information, you can find the live capital plan. The work that Stephen and his team does to feed information to great volunteer committees like Jerry's helps inform how the town addresses its building maintenance projects, and all of that information and hard work is brought to you in the form of this article for your support. So we ask you to reach out, come to one of the MFC meetings every other week. We have a great time at those, or reach out to us for more information, or continue to look on our website for updates on how you can learn more about the capital article dealing with building maintenance coming up at this year's annual town meeting. Thank you.